Okay, let's take a look at dividends, qualified dividends worksheet. In your 1040 instruction booklet, if you go down here where it says on the table of contents, tax and credits, and click to that link, and then we're going to scroll on down. Here's a Social Security benefits worksheet. Okay, that's not what we want. Here's a standard deduction worksheet. No. Foreign earned income tax worksheet. No. Here we go. Qualified dividends and capital gain tax worksheet. Okay. And so this is what you're going to use if someone has qualified dividends. If they don't have qualified dividends or long-term capital gain on Schedule D, which we haven't even talked about, then you do not need to do this worksheet. Now this worksheet, again, is in the IRS instruction booklet. Because it's a worksheet, you cannot click on these boxes, these white boxes. You can't click on them and type on them. So your best bet, you can go ahead, this is page 35, so you can go ahead and print out just this page on your printer and hand write on it. Okay, and then you would have to either take a picture of it to upload if you're giving me this for an exam or a homework or something like that. That's what you would have to do. Or if you hit your printer, most printers have where you can scan something and it would upload it as a PDF. Okay, now let's take a look at this. Let us say that we have someone who has, here's a 1099 that Mary Bronte got, and she has total ordinary dividends of $419, and she has qualified dividends of $411. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this worksheet. Now I'm going to go through on this worksheet that I have already done, and I'll explain where I got each piece of information. And so the first thing it asks for is the amount from 1040, line 15. Well, line 15, here's your Form 1040. Line 15 is your taxable income. So when you add up your various things, you subtract your standard deduction, that's where you get your taxable income. Now for this Mary Bronte, she has interest income of $8103. That's her ordinary income. She also had tax exempt income of $1,500, although I don't need that for what I'm doing with the dividends worksheet. Okay, and then she had the ordinary dividends of $419. So on line 3B where it says ordinary dividends, that's where that's going. Line 3A is the qualified dividends, and that was $411. Okay, this stuff over here on the left is not being added into the taxable income, only this stuff over here on the right. Okay. Okay, and Mary also has a pension. She gets $33,121 in her pension. That's on line 5. total pension goes on 5A, and then how much of it is taxable, which is all of it, goes on 5B. Okay, and then we would add those up. 8103, the ones on the right, and the 419, and the 33,121. That's 41,643. That's her total income. Okay, she doesn't have any adjustments, so her AGI is also 41,643. Line 12 is her standard deduction. She's single, so we'll use 12,400. And we subtract that from the 41,643, and we get 29,243. So that is her taxable income on line 15. So now we can see we want the amount from line 15. That's the 29,243. Okay, so that's where we got that. Line 2, enter the amount from line 3A. That's the actual qualified dividends. So that's this 411 right here on line 3A. Okay, so that's there. Says, are you filing Schedule D? Well, we file Schedule D if we bought and sold capital assets such as maybe some stocks or something. We sold some stocks. Then we would fill out Schedule D. Okay, well, we don't have that, so we say no. And then it says enter the amount from line 7. We don't have anything on line 7, so we don't have to worry about that. Line 4, it says add lines 2 and 3. So 411 and 0 is 411. Line 5, subtract line 4 from line 1. So we're going to subtract 411 from 29,243. So 29,243 minus 411 is 28,832. Says if 0 or less, enter 0. Well, ours is not negative, so we put the number there, 28,832. Line 6, enter 40,000 if single. So that's what we did. Line 7, enter the smaller of line 1 or line 6. Well, line 1 is 29,243. Line 6 is 40,000. So the 29,243 is smaller, so that's what we put on line 7. Line 8, enter the smaller of line 5 or line 7. Line 5 is 28,832, and line 7 is 29,243. So line 5 is smaller, so we put that there in line 8. Line 9, subtract line 8 from line 7. This amount is taxed at 0%. Okay, so I'm going to subtract the 28,832 from the 29,243, and I come back to the 411. Okay, and so all that 411 is not going to be taxed at all. It's 0. Okay, line 10, enter the smaller of line 1 or line 4. So 29,243 or line 4, which is 411. So the 411 is smaller. Okay. Line 11, enter the amount from line 9. Well, that's 411 again. So we have this 411 3 times in a row. Line 12, subtract 11 from 10. So 411 minus 411 is 0. Okay? Now we go on. This part down here isn't as necessary if you know what you're doing, because this is for when we're have somebody that's in a higher income tax bracket. Now, Mary Bronte, she is in a smaller bracket, so she is able to pay 0% on her qualified dividends, okay? But we're going to go ahead and fill this out anyways, just so we know what we're doing, okay? So line 13, it says enter 441, 450 if single. That's what we did. Okay, enter line 14, enter the smaller of line 1 or line 13. Well, line 1 is smaller, so we put that in, 29,243. Line 15, add lines 5 plus 9. So line 5 is 28, 832. Line 9 is 411. We add those two together, we still come up with 29,243. Line 16, subtract 15 from 14. Okay, if 0 or less, enter 0. So, of course, 29,243 minus itself is 0. Okay, line 17, enter the smaller of line 12 or line 16. Well, line 12 and line 16 are both 0, so that's 0. Line 18, multiply line 17 by 15%. So 0 times 15% is 0. Line 19, add lines 9 and 17. So 9 is 411, 17 is 0, so that's 411. Line 20, subtract 19 from line 10. So line 10 is 411 minus line 19 of 411 is 0. Line 21, multiply line 20 by 20%. 0 times 20% is 0. So what this would have done is if we would have had someone that was in a higher income tax bracket, then some of their qualified dividends would have been taxed at either 15% or 20%, okay, instead of their tax bracket. All right, so we get down to line 22, and it says figure the tax on the amount on line 5, okay? So line 5 is 28,832, okay? So we're going to go into our tax table, and here's our 28,000. We look at 28,800 to 28,850. That's where 28,832 will fit in. And we go to single, which is the first column. That's 3262. Okay, so that's where that 3262 came from. Line 23, add lines 18, 21, and 22. So 0 and 0 and 3262 is 3262. Line 24, figure the tax on the amount on line 1. So line 1 is 29,243. So now we're going to look up the tax for 29,243. So here's our 29,000 box here on the tax table. 29,243. It's 29,200 to 29,250. And that amount for the single is 3310. Okay, and so we put that there. Line 25, okay, enter the smaller of line 23 or 24. So 23 is 3262, 24 is 3310. So the smaller is 3262, we put it there. It says also include this amount on the entry space on Form 1040, line 16. Okay, so if we just looked up, okay, here we are back at our return. Here's line 16, this is the tax. If you would have just looked up the tax for 29,243, you would have put 3310 there. But now it's telling us to put the 3262 there instead. Oops. Okay, now we saved $48 by filling that for Mary, by filling that worksheet out. If we wouldn't have filled out the worksheet, which only took us a few minutes, then we would have had $33.10 in here, and Mary would have paid $48 more in tax. Now, for some people, it could be hundreds of dollars that they save from you filling out that worksheet. So, of course, we need to do that. Okay, we don't have anything from Schedule 2, line 3. So we have 3262 there. She doesn't have any child tax credit, nor Schedule 3, line 7 stuff. And so line 21 is also 30.